Hi. So, I know this is a problem that has happened to all of us, and maybe even some of us take part in it. You get into a game, and let's say for some reason something happens in the early stages, and for the purpose of this example, we're going to say that you play top lane and you didn't manage to connect in the beginning of the game. So you managed to just barely connect, and you get to lane missing a couple of CS. But unfortunately, because you made it late, you weren't able to make it on time to give your jungler a leash. And he was really set on starting on the top side of the map. Moments go by and your jungler starts typing and saying, hey guys, I'm not going to be able to keep up with the enemy Nidalee now that I did not get a leash. So I think it's GG. So I'm just going to honestly play how I want to play. I think it's GG. You guys are willing to decide if you want to open mid or not. And then your team starts thinking, hey, you know what? That doesn't sound logical. That doesn't sound like as bad as you think it is. I think that you should just keep playing. And he disagrees, and an argument starts to happen, back and forth, discussing, is it really that bad? Are we really going to lose just from not giving a leash? Can he keep up? Can we lane without jungle pressure? And your team says, hey, you know what, just farm, we can do things without you, just don't worry about it. But more discussion ensues to the point where minutes and minutes go by and all your lanes start losing because they're too busy, distraught by the idea that the jungler is so stressed out or that he's not going to be able to gank, or just completely distracted because of the argument that is going on. And the lanes start losing. Everybody starts losing lanes, kills left, right, and center, and the situation worsens and worsens if the game is really worth playing, if that leash was really the debate or the end-all be-all to the game. So all your lanes start failing miserably. But you aren't doing very badly. I mean, you got to lane a little bit late, but you're really focused on making sure that you can keep up and stay relevant, even though you made it a little bit late because of your DC. So you are also playing top lane, and you want to win, so you're playing a meta champion. You're playing Maokai. Maokai has a lot of kill pressure if a jungler shows up. So you see that your opponent isn't very good. You tell your teammate, your jungler, hey, listen, man, I know we're doing really poorly, but I'm keeping up well. You know, if you come to my lane, we can get a kill, and there's a pretty good chance that you do that a couple times, and maybe I can TP bottom and start trying to win this game. And he tells you, you know what, you didn't give me a leash, so I'm not going to help you. You're on your own, kid. Something like that. You're on your own, kid. You're like, what's going on? And then the game is just over. 5 minutes later, they're pushing down an inhibitor, and you've lost the game. All that typing, all that argument, all that grudge being held, just is what I want to address. Holding a grudge and being a keyboard warrior during a game. The first one, of course, is holding that grudge, and that makes no sense because there's a really key distinction between playing the map, looking at how your teammates play, and seeing who's capable of carrying, who's adept at their champion, who understands the limits of the map, the game, and really knows how to carry, or who has no idea what's going on. They just randomly pick the champion and doesn't understand it, and should not be helped to the point where they're put in the position to carry because they will not know. As opposed to doing that grudge thing where you just find one guy and you just will not help them, because what's going to happen is one plays so many games and the game has so many little factors, the human factor, that there are going to be games where that person that you dislike is going to be the one that brings all the opportunities to win that game, to make that comeback. You're going to have to side with that guy that you don't like. You're going to have to help that guy's lane, even if he isn't that good. Because when it's a matter of, do you help the guy that you think isn't very good but is the only chance of winning, or do you just give up and say, no, I can't put my pride and my ego aside, I think he's just bad. And you make sure everybody knows it. Oh, you go on that keyboard and you start going at 100 keys per minute, 100 words per minute, whatever it is, and you start letting everybody know that you think he's bad, you think he fucked up the game because he didn't give you a leash, or you just don't want to have any part with him and you just ignore whatever is said. All those things do not help towards a game, and frankly, that might as well be as a reportable offense of not communicating. I'd rather report somebody for doing that than being verbally abusive. because that's just refusing to actually win the game. When it's a game of a team game, 5 individuals, you have to come together, and no matter what, through everything, you have to work as a team to win. And it's going to happen that you're going to have to work with somebody that you don't like. It's what school teaches you, that you're going to be put in pairs with people that you don't like, and you have to make that group project work, or you're going to fail. I don't know where all those lessons got taught and lost, but that's the same thing that's happening in League of Legends. You need to understand that. And refusing to do so is like, say, going to the army, and just because you had a fight with somebody at a barracks, comes down to war, and you just say, you know what, I'm just not going to shoot the guy that's shooting this guy over here because he hurt my feelings earlier. He stepped on my shoes and I had to polish them again. That is so counterproductive that it's just hurtful towards the game and towards your own self-improvement, because your thought is clouded by your emotions and by your president of the feeling of the game, that you just can't improve that way. And at the same time that you're doing that, you're also being a really good typer and learning really well how to make sure that the team and your enemy team knows how much you hate one guy and how much they ruin the game, and everybody else around it starts taking part and making sure that, hey, listen, hey man, calm down, or hey, make sure that, stop typing a little less, try focusing on the game. And they're very right. Every time that you find yourself typing some sort of dumb argument that has nothing to do with what you need to be doing to win, or some sort of relevant information like, hey, there's a ward here, hey, I have teleport in this time, hey guys, want to fight dragon, maybe we can do this, maybe we can do that, all sorts of things like that are useful. But every time that you find yourself thinking, how can I let my team know that I don't like this guy, or what new creative way can I say that we should surrender, or what kind of new meme can I pop up into the chat to let everybody know that I think this game is over. Every time that you think that, you're hindering your learning, you're hindering your ability to play at your very best. And every time that you keep playing at your very best, you keep improving. It's like lifting weights. If you want to gain muscle, you don't lift at your medium weight all the time. You try to lift your max weight often and repeatedly. So when you focus and you put your brain power into that, you're slowing yourself down. And you can tell me, hey, you know what? I've been playing for a year, and last year I started out as Plat 3. And every single game, I go into it and I type to my teammate everything that goes on through my head. I tell them what I was having for dinner. I tell them what kind of knot my panties got in. I tell them all sorts of things. And I got to Masters after a year. Well, think about how much better you could have become if you use all that time to actually focus and immerse yourself into the game and improve as a player completely, as opposed to being spread out in your focus with like 60 attention in the game and 40% typing, or whatever percentage you could have. And you could tell me that argument of multitasking, but multitasking isn't even real. It's like a myth. You just do 2 tasks very close together. You can't actually do 2 things at once. Next time you find yourself playing, I advise you to really focus and think twice before you type something that you know isn't going to be relevant to the game, that you know is not the proper thing to win that game, to make a comeback, to just play properly. Because not only are you coming off as just a shitty human being, as a shitty teammate, you're also not improving yourself. And if you're fine with stagnating and just playing each game like that because you play for fun, then why do you even type if you play for fun? Why do you even debate and argue? If the point is to improve, then you're doing it wrong. And if the point is to play for fun, then you're also doing it wrong. And as for holding a grudge, well, that will never work. Hating somebody or disliking somebody takes a lot more effort than just completely ignoring it and focusing right back on the game. And if you really need some advice, if you really need to somehow find a way to put your ego aside, forget about your pride, and truly focus on the game, then I recommend a couple of things. The first one is remove all the names from the chat. All the names from everything, from all the little champions up top, so it's a lot less easy to find somebody and really dislike them because you don't know their name. You keep forgetting their name and you have no idea who they are. And the last one is, if it really comes down to it and you can't find the energy and the willpower inside you to do that, mute everybody and try to play the game like that. In fact, if you do that, here's a new little challenge for you. Type to them the information that you think is relevant and try to play the game without any feedback. Try to see how good your information is read and accepted and not read any of the feedback, and try to see that if the feedback comes in, you have to see it for yourself. So for example, you could say something like fight and dragon in 1 minute, and you see that your teammates aren't recalling, maybe press tab, and then you can find that for yourself that they don't want to fight it because they're at a summoner disadvantage or ultimate disadvantage, haven't recalled, things like that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and find it useful, and if you are one of the people that do this, then try it as well, and don't expect improvement within a day, a week. It'll take you months to get that mentality correct, and make sure that you can, instead of arguing, become a good teammate and see yourself improving while you're at it.